Hello and welcome to a new part. This is part 15 of the Rideshare application development. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch part 0 of this series where I explain what Rideshare is all about. In part 14, we'll be creating the login endpoint. We'll be using JWT to create a token that allows the user to authenticate every time he needs to access a secured endpoint. So first, what we need to do is create the endpoint login. As you can see here, we have currently one endpoint, which is the /users that allows user to register. Now we need to add another endpoint, and this endpoint will be the login. So I'll create here the function that handles the request. So I create a constant login request handler, which will have a similar signature to the first request handler, which handles the /users endpoint. So it will create a robot function that get the DB in the parameters, and it will return a function which will be the request handler function that receives the request and the response as in the parameters by Express.js. And here the first thing will structure the email and password from the request.body, which we expect to receive from the user login form on the front end. Next, we'll check if not email or not password. So if either email or password are not provided, we'll return with res.status 400.send with a message validation error. All right. If both are provided, then we'll continue fetching the user from the database using the email. So in order to do this, I create a constant user, which will be equal to await get user by email. All right. So this is a function that we will create in a moment that will fetch a user from the database, providing his email and of course the DB. All right, so let's create now this function. So constant get user by email, which will be equal to a function that receives the email and the DB. Now inside this function, we need to get the collection using ZDB, so I create a constant user collection or just user, which will be equal, sorry, it's users with S, which will be equal to db.collection users. All right, now I have the user collection. I can await for users dot find one, providing with the email, and that's it. All right, and I will return the result of this operation. Of course, it will return the promise, which I can await for it here. And once I receive the user, I will make a check if user has been received, So if there's no user in the database with this email, I'll get undefined. So if not user, in that case, I will return similar to this operation here. I will return this time, instead of 400, the request status will be 401, which signify unauthorized access. And for the message, I'll create a constant that contains the message, and I will send it to the error JSON. So the message will be wrong email password combination. I won't be specifying whether it's the email or the password for security reasons. I don't want to give sensitive information here. Alright, now after making sure the user is available, I will get the password and compares it to the hash in the database using the bcrypt. Now here I will create a constant is match, and it will be equal to, of course, await bcrypt dot compare. Now the compare function take two parameters. First, the string password that is provided by the user, and the next parameter will give it the hash that need to be compared to. So so the password here, which we are retrieving from the request body, that is sent by the user in the login form. So we compare it to the user dot password. Now here the password is the one available in the database that we have retrieved from the user by the email provided also by the user that is trying to log in. So we compare both of these passwords. If there is a match, if there's no match, we return the same operation, res.status 400, the same operation here, res.status 401 dot send the message wrong email password combination. But if there is a match, now we need to create the token. Now the token will be sent to the front-end application, and it needs to be stored in the browser and sent by the front-end application on each request, so we can authorize the user to access the secured endpoint. So I'll create first, before creating the token, I need to install the JSONWebToken package here with npm. Make sure you are in the API folder. Remember here that we have the API and the front folder. The front is for the front end, and the API is our back end API. So make sure to be in the API folder. npm I JSONWebToken. JSONWebToken. Alright, it's a very small library. It will be installed in a couple of seconds. And alright, once it's done, the first thing we need to do is requires it constant JWT equal require the JSONWebToken. Alright, now we can use it to generate a token, or more precisely to sign a new token. So constant token equal JWT.sign. The sign method takes minimum 2 parameters. The third one is optional, which is used to send additional options to the JWT or to the sign function. So the first parameter will be the payload. Here will be the payload will be the user ID, which will be equal to the user ID, of course, to user ID, of course, converting it to string. So to string. So we'll store the ID as a string. So this is our payload, just the user ID. The next parameter will be a secret, will be a JWT secret, and for the secret here, it could be any string, all right? So, and this need to be hidden, all right? This is a very sensitive data here, so it need to be hidden from anybody. Nobody need to know the secret. If somebody knows the secret, he can decode any token, all right? Any token provided, he can decode it. So to store it in a secret place, we'll use the environment. As you can see, I already have created an environment variable, which is JWT secret, that contain something, anything. Is just locally. Of course, it's best to be more strong as a secret, but for our local development, it's all right. So here I get the environment variable with process.env.gwt_secret. All right. Now in the third parameters, we will provide the expiration date of this token with expire in. We'll set it to. Now it depends on a property, the remember, which we get from the request.body.remember. So if the user has checked the remember field in the login form, then we'll set the expire in to 7 days. Else we'll set it to 1 hour. All right, which will be short-lived for security reason. Now here 7 days, if he checks the remember, it means that he's in his private computer, in his home, it's totally safe to store it then 7 days. All right, now this is our token ready to be used. What do we do with it? We'll send it to the front end. So our job is done here. We need to send the information to the front end. So we run the res.send. We send two properties, of course the user data, and we'll send the token. The user data will consist of the name, user.name, then the email, user.email, then the is email verified, user.is email verified. Then we have the created add, which will be user.created add. All right. Just let me verify one thing concerning this attribute created add. I remember that all right, here we're saving it as created underscore add. I will fix the name to be consistent. All right, and that's it. We are ready to test. So let's give it a try in Postman right away. All right, so first let's run our server npm run dev. Okay, we got an error. We have made a mistake here. In the login request handler, we need to add the async to the function. All right, because we are using the await. So await is only valid in async function. Here is one place, and the other place is here in the get user by email. Also, it needs to be async. So we have fixed our error here in the server. Oh, one thing I forgot, a very important step, is to actually register the endpoint /users/login, which I haven't yet. So /users/login will use the login request handler. All right, now we can use the endpoint /users/login to generate a token, and which will log in the user. All right, so let's go to Postman. I have already created a new request, the user login, which will point to the user/login, and in the body we are specifying the JSON row, and here currently I'm providing a correct credential which are available in the database. Now if I run this credential, all right, I get the correct response, which I receive the user data along with a token, which I can stores it in the browser. So in case we have a wrong credential, let's change the email to an non-existent email in the database. All right, I get wrong email password combination. Same for the password. Let's add here a 0. Also, I get the wrong email password combination. Again, if I fix, I get the token. So let's, for example, remove totally the email and send. I get error validation with 400 byte request. All right. So that's it for the login endpoint. This is the end of this video. Next, we'll be working on logging in the user on the front end. Then we'll be working on sending the user email verification, so we can verify he's the owner of the provided email. So this is just a preview of what's coming next. This is the end, and thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumb up, and don't forget to subscribe on my channel, and see you very soon. Have a nice day.